Good morning, class. Before I'm going to start my lesson today, I am going to let me introduce myself to you. I am Miss Maria Elaine Lau, so you can call me Miss Elaine. I'm gonna be your student teacher for your asynchronous class in physical science. So now our topic for today is all about pure substance. So under pure substance, we do have element and compound. Under element, we have metal, non-metal, metalloids, and in compound, we have acid, base, and salt. Let's have a recap about this matter. So we do have here graphic organizer. It is what we called concept map. So under matter, we do have classification of matter. So we do have pure substance and mixture. So under pure substance, again, we do have element and compound. While mixture, we do have homogeneous and heterogeneous. Under homo, solution, and hetero is colloid and suspension. But now, for now, we are going to focus when it comes to pure substance under of element and compound. The question is, what is pure substance? So, pure substance is composed of a particle which cannot be separated by physical means. So, what is the meaning of that? Okay, do you have any idea or example? So, about what is pure substance? So, for instance, when you say physical means, it can be what? Change in terms of size, shape, or form, but cannot be separated by physical means. It is said that, for instance, you are cutting a piece of cloth. So, it's one of the example of physical change. Even though the cloth changes, shape and size change. So when it is cut, so it doesn't mean that it create another substance. It is still cloth. Okay, that's one of the example of pure substance. So types of pure substance. Sorry for the wrong spelling. So, but it's substance. It's letter B, not N. So we do have element and compound. So element refers to the simplest form of pure substance. So can you state that what those elements we have in our periodic table? So for instance, we have what? Sodium, potassium, carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. Okay, that's those examples of elements. So under elements, we have metal, metalloids, and non-metal. So when we say metal, most elements are metal. It means solid. It is usually solid at room temp except mercury. So metalloid, same characteristic of metal and non-metal. Actually, when we say metalloids, we don't have a standard definition about these metalloids, but it is said that a mixture of metal and non-metal. Okay? So, non-metal naman is exhibits very different properties from a metal. So, this is the opposite of metal. Non-metal. So, like what? For what are those examples for non-metal? So, we do have oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, chlorine. Okay? So, let's start here. First, elements. So, these are the example of metal. So, we do have what here? Gold. Gold is metal. So, gold is solid. Iron is also an example of metal. It is also solid. About bronze or nickel. Am I right? It's are those example of metal. So metalloids, so we have here boron, silicon, germanium, and arsenic. And non-metals, we have sulfur, nitrogen, selenium, and bromine or bromine. So let's have here some characteristic of metals. Okay, metals, metalloids, and non-metals. So here, when we say metal, it is what? It is what? Solid. Okay? And ductile. So when we say ductile, it has something to do with the high luster or yung mga metallic appearance. Sila yung metallic lustre is yung mga shiny. Yun, usually that's one of the characteristic of metals. Then malleable and good conductor. So we all know that the good conductor are made of what? Metals in terms of electricity. So when it comes to metalloids, the properties of both metals and non-metals. So it also has metallic, brittle, and semiconductor. So metalloid has some of the properties nga of metals and non-metallic. So yung it characters may yung mga dull or shiny appearance. Okay, it may gain or lose electrons. So that's why it's called semiconductors. And when it comes to non-metals, can be solid, liquid, and gas. So, dahil din siya brittle and insulators. Why insulators? Kasi does not conduct. Okay, let's proceed to compounds. So, when we say compounds, are pure substance that are composed of multiple types of elements, two or more chemically bonded to one another. So, an example here, best example here, so we do have carbon dioxide. So, carbon dioxide consists of two elements, carbon and oxygen. Likewise, water. So, water consists of two elements. So, we do have hydrogen and oxygen. That's what we call compounds. So, under compound, so we have here acid, base, and salt. So, let's give a definition of this acid. So, when we say acid, taste, sour. So, react with some metals. That's why they say that vinegar is a best way to clean our what? Our silver, gold, okay? And to give off hydrogen gas and also conduct electricity in solution. While bases is a taste, a bitter, this is the opposite of acid. So, feel slippery, dissolved fats, and oils. So, when you say base, it is a chemically opposite of acid. So, bitter in taste nga siya. And then, usually, all bases are, is a compound which yields hydroxide ions. So, pag na-dissolve siya sa water. So, okay, we have here a what we call litmus paper. So, when it comes to acidity, so, mas lower yung kanyang acid pagka sinabi nating acid. While basic or base is mas higher yung kanyang yung kanyang number, enable for us to consider it as acidic or basic. And then at the middle, we have syempre a neutral. And the neutral is what we called salt. So it is formed by the combination of acid and base through neutralization reaction. So an example here, so we do have sodium chlorine without SO, fertilizer, bath salt, and baking soda. It has something to do with salt. Okay, so we have here acid-base detection. So through litmus paper, so we do have your blue and red. This is the universal pH paper. So when you enable for you to understand what pH is acidic in acidic solution. So it turns what? It turns the acid changes the color of litmus paper to red. So yung pH niya is the value of acid, yung less than 7. While naman yung sa base naman is base changes the color of litmus paper is saan? Blue. So the pH of bases is greater than 8. Okay? But dito sa may neutral, so we do have 7.5 or 7. Okay. So, once again, this is an example of compound. So, when we say acidic, vinegar, or lemon. When it comes to base, so we do have sodium bicarbonate or what we call baking soda, and then ammonia water, yung ammonia hydroxide. And last but not the least is salt. It has something to do with salt. So I hope you did all understand about my discussion today. It's all about what? It's all about classification of matter, pure substances. So we do have elements, compound, then other elements, we do have what? Metal, non-metal, and metalloids. Compound is acid, base, and salt. Okay, and that's all for today. And once again, I am your student teacher for your asynchronous class. Thank you and goodbye.